lifestyles of the strange and exotic random book review. This book is the last in the Allegant, Divergent, What's It series by Veronica Roth. And this one is Allegant. One choice will define you. And sadly, they don't define anything on the back as far as what the book is about. Now, the entire series is pretty much a dystopian future. Well, yeah, I guess it would be future, because they refer to kind of like old photography about wars that they didn't think happened and actually did. Kind of like coming across World War II footage. And just like The Hunger Games, this is one book too many. The first two books set up the characters, set up the story, you got the factions split, they find out, you know, sort of, was that even an issue? Triss's background, and why she was kind of special, and they build up the whole thing of being a divergent as something special, that these people are different than the regular people. Then nothing happens. Like, this book turns into something entirely different. They find out that they have to leave the city, or at least, you know, they have the option of leaving the city to find out there's a bigger world out there. Come to find out the city's Chicago. And then you have, from the beginning of the series to like the end of the second book, you have your characters. Your characters have chosen their factions, and, you know, they go through as individuals different things, and then as individuals, as a group, you know, you lose some, you meet some, you know, it makes sense in the world. And then suddenly you leave the city and it's like a whole nother book and a whole nother, it's like she hit the reboot button. And it's like a computer. If you hit like reboot and you reboot from Windows 10 and suddenly you're in like Vista. It's like, it's similar yet not the same, you know, it's like, what? So you find these new people who are using, and again, spoilers, they want to reboot the cities. The cities, you come to find out, and there's more than one city that the government controls, and she doesn't go into, like, how the government works. It's just this thing in the background. You got the city, or at least this airport that's sort of the hub of these experiments in these different cities. I think Philadelphia was one of them, Chicago was another one. There's a few others she mentioned, and they're each experiments. Come to find out, Divergent isn't even a thing, even though it was built so high up in the first two books. It somehow turns from that into this, like, genetic warfare type of thing, where the whole divergence of how certain people can resist things and some can't is never resolved. It somehow becomes, well, these people are genetically different than these people. And they never quite explain how they're damaged, and that the experiments are set up to kind of, I'm not even sure. Like, I mean, she doesn't really define what's actually broken. That certain, the genetic mistakes, supposedly, are kind of based in personality traits. Like, well, violence has a gene, and stupidity has another gene or something. They're trying to, like, weed out these genes, and they use these people in the cities as an experiment, and they've done different things, and supposedly the one Triss and Four and stuff are from is like the more successful experiment, but then it goes wrong, and it's like, and then the whole conflict that's built up in the first two books, it's sort of not even happening in the background, or because they're dealing with this new problem that doesn't even make sense. And then it's like, what? She could have started a whole nother series just on the plot she tried to stick into this one. It has no need to be in this book. And this one bounces between Triss and Four, or Tobias, depending, you know, which version you go with. And even still, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see it from two points of view. So it didn't quite hiccup. It flowed nicely. It didn't backtrack, basically. So once Triss made a point and her point was done, it went on to what Four was doing. It wasn't like, okay, back to where Triss started and now it's from Four's point of view. No, it doesn't work that way. So interesting way of doing it that I didn't mind. Just went through that. certain story. It's like, this thing was a confusing mess. In some ways it was an enjoyable read, because you've gotten used to these characters, they build things up, and you're hoping that Triss and Four would get together, kind of take over the city. You know, that was kind of what I was hoping. And that's not what happened. Triss's storyline, I mean, it was like, you could see, you knew something was gonna go down, but it was just like, poof, sudden slap in the face. And I'm like, what? Why make her the lead character and then shift all of a sudden to focus on Four? Four wasn't anything without Triss. He was just another Dauntless. Whoa. You know, you kind of liked him, but it was like, you can't have Four without Triss. What's the point? So when they got rid of Triss, which was like you weren't surprised, but it was like a really stupid thing to do. It's like, at that point, it's like, well, why am I might as well finish it. What's the point? The solution at the end was really kind of, it was lame. It was lame and disappointing. I mean, it wasn't even really a solution. It was just such, it felt like a cop-out. It was like, okay, whatever, we'll do this. Whoa. And I just now, having just finished reading this book on like the Bing news page, and I'm in the way this book is done, this particular book in the series is done, it's like, how are they going to translate that to a movie? They don't want to make a movie. They want to make a mini-series for TV, and I'm like, you know, that would probably be best. It's like, it feels like you went from big blockbuster to what the fuck movie of the week, you know. Even though the whole Triss storyline was like, and they, what happens to the other characters and kind of how they kind of tie in and tie up was pretty good. I mean, you do kind of gather who's left at the end, and they all kind of move on, and there's still a connection there. So it did feel, you know, like it concluded without being like the sudden drop of Triss, you know. It was okay, but it was still like, meh. Just, you know, referring to my notes here. So that was pretty much all of my notes. And I'm like, you know, Four is just not an interesting character enough to warrant a whole nother series of books. I can see maybe writing books on, you know, the life of the different factions, and I think there's 5 of them. And I forgot where there's Dauntless, Abnegation, Candor, and this is different from the thing. Oh, okay. You have the Abnegation, which Triss and Four are originally from, and they're sort of the ones that sort of help. They're the helpers. They're the ones that'll wait till everybody's cleared out of a room to leave, you know. You have Amity, which I guess they were the ones that were sort of the neutral ones. They didn't want to get involved in anything. They were like the hippies, the sort of the farmers, the growers, the medics, those type of people. Candor were like the Vulcans. They were straight brains, you know, logic only, you know, the researchers, the thinkers. Probably would have enjoyed being Candor. Dauntless were the ones that were like balls to the wall, you know, adrenaline junkies. They were the warriors. They were the Firehearts that Triss and Four end up being a part of. The Erudite. Who the hell were the Erudite? I forgot now. I can't remember what the Erudite did. I honestly can't remember what the hell the Erudite did. Were they like the scientists and stuff? I mean, you pretty much only deal with Abnegation and Dauntless. Kind of Candor. They do have a section of Amity, but so the concept behind the book is really interesting. You know, how do you look at society, and you know, if it's built in certain ways, you know. But the whole genetic tampering thing, and that's kind of what it was. I guess people tampered with the genetics so much that supposedly they, after so many generations, kind of forgot that you know, it'll fix itself type of thing. It was like, it was just stupid. So, personally, the first 2 books are great. Read those. If you want a confusing mess of what the hell, read this one. And honestly, just don't bother with the other ones. I mean, I'm just so pissed that they did Triss. It's like, why? She was the interesting one in the book. I mean, I'm not surprised she did what she did, but it was like, the book just went, it literally flatlined after she did, you know, it's like, whatever. So that is my opinion on Veronica Roth's Allegant, the 3rd in the series. Let's see. That Divergent series. So it's Divergent, Insurgent, and now Allegant. Which is really hard to keep track of. So, thank you for watching. Do remember to comment, rate, share, and subscribe. There's always room for one more at the Strange and Exotic. See you next time, and hopefully this microphone thingy works. Even though I'm tethered to a very tiny cord. So, see you next time. Bye.